All right, superhero friends, welcome to the live. I am playing as Jean Grey tonight. I wasn't actually planning on doing any particular live tonight. It's actually Comic-Con here in Toronto, but it also ended up raining, so it was kind of bad weather. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to bring back classic Jean Grey. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to a read I've done with you guys before, which is Astonishing X-Men with Joss Whedon, who wrote this. And it's kind of fun. Not fun, kind of fun. We're saying welcome to actually your new astrological year, my friends. We are in Aries season. We are finally in, I guess, the prophesized time of spring. Let me just. Hi, Gwen Stacy. Oh my goodness. I am the original Mama Jean though here, right? So she's like the mother to even Phoenix in some sort of in some regards, being the mother to Phoenix. So you guys, welcome to the new year. Welcome my X-Men. I haven't done Marvel in a little bit of a while. If you're new here, I technically do cosplay as characters in the comic books that I read. We are it, yeah. So Aries is also my sister's season as well. I also personally have quite a few placements in Aries, so I vibe with the Aries ladies, as well as Wonder Woman is an Aries woman. So to all the Aries ladies out there and Aries in general, I appreciate you, right? It's all about being initiatory, about the start, right? The energy that it takes to bring the form to the formless, and all of that juicy stuff where you're going from Pisces into Aries, right? It's like, it can feel crazy, right? I was working on a few dances actually. So tomorrow I might be in a dance battle. I signed up. I don't know if I'm actually going to go through with it, but we shall see. We are going to actually be doing this read. Oh, it's behind me. I had it in a ponytail. Let's bring it out. I wasn't going to put my face shield on today, because I was actually working on doing actual Eva foam face shield so that it would be resistant to things like makeup. So let's see here. I'm going to put this up a little bit higher. I was doing different angles, but I want this a bit closer. All right. Much better, right? I can see you all a little more. Aww. Miss you guys too. Okay, so Jean's back. All right. Jean Grey specifically, though, I do relate to a lot as a character. Her powers come from, you're scared. Why should you be scared? Nothing to be scared of. Although, I mean, Jean can be a little bit intense. It's a lot of energy, right? So it's why she is connected to the Phoenix. I'm trying to think of who showed up last time. Actually, I wanted to show you guys off a dragon egg that I make. So I make these. These are dream dragon eggs. This one technically would be like a phoenix, but more brass dragons. So I love dragons. I love D&D. That is for another conversation. However, when we're talking about Jean Grey, the X-Men, right? We're also talking about a mythology, right? And so when we're suspending disbelief to talk about certain things, I once had someone come on this live and be like, you know that this is all made up, right? It's all just imagination. I'm like, yeah, so are most things, right? So I think it's a matter of, Sir Laurie, the loyal, to all the knights out there. I appreciate you. Also, really love that show on HBO right now, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is in the Game of Thrones universe. Really wonderful. Oh, thank you. Yes, I was actually also working on an X-23 cosplay, and the read I'm going to do for you guys tonight is Astonishing X-Men, and Jean Grey is actually not in this episode. our White Queen Emma Frost is. I do love Emma Frost. I have read some comic books where Jean and Emma obviously love the same man, right? Scott Summers. And they have had conversations where like Emma was like, you know, your nightmare is kind of like my love story. And you can look at things as a matter of perspective, especially when it comes to things like love, right? When it comes to Scott, you'll see here there's some spicy conversations that happen between Scott and Wolverine about Jean, right? Because Scott, Cyclops accuses Wolverine of trying to steal Jean. But of course, like, I feel like it would be hard not to have a crush on Jean just because of her high empathy, because of my high empathy, she would be able to relate to actually and really love people on that level, right? And, oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, Gwen Stacy, to your point, it's whatever you want to be real is real to you. I'll give you an example, a really nice psychic example to be like Jean. So let's put it this way. I don't know if you guys dream a lot or have night terrors or just feel like you astral travel or like you have a very active dream life. Oh, Trey, thank you. Oh, much appreciated, my psychic friends. First of all, did I introduce what we're actually going to talk about tonight? So this is technically the Cosmic Comic Book Club. I made a new schedule, as you can see the calendar behind me, that every Tuesday at like midnight we do a read, just like, you know, book club, because comic books are books too, baby. And I personally cosplay as characters that I myself resonate with those characters. So Jean Grey is one of the original 5 X-Men. I relate to her a lot just because she's the only female in a group of guys, right? Just like in my D&D group, I'm basically like the only girl in the group of guys. But I'm not, I mean, I'm kind of tomboyish in some ways, but I'm super girly in others. And so I think oftentimes when writers are writing these types of characters, like, for example, some of my favorite female boss characters are like Sarah Connor from Terminator 2 or Mulan from Disney, you know. But just, you need to have that training montage. You need to have this journey where a warrior is forged to make sense. And so Jean Grey, actually, for me personally, I grew up with the X-Men. I love the X-Men too, you guys. So my first introduction to the X-Men was the old 90s show that I used to watch like on TV, right? Oh, Crypto Joe. Oh, I'll find the old like credits, because animation was such a big deal to me growing up, right? The idea that you could have like your comic books and like those stories just come to life. And kudos to all the voice actors out there, because certain voice actors, like Wolverine's voice actor in that old 90s, you know, how he says bub, and like, I'm not going to try to do Wolverine, but it stays with you, right? Like my favorite character growing up was actually Storm, because my dad is from South Africa. And so Storm is very much like an Orisha, right? She's very much like African goddess energy. Like that's 100%. And everyone loves Storm. Like she's so overpowered. Like, I think like her and Magneto in one of the time streams or one of the storylines, they actually go to Mars and like terraform it. And she's basically like, Magneto's like, you should be worshiping Storm as a goddess around here. And she's like, nah, no, because she's amazing. Aurora Monroe. Hot take, I actually liked Halle Berry as Storm in the first initial X-Men, whatever. So, oh yeah, she's amazing. So in that initial animation, I actually did not like Jean Grey. And it's kind of funny, you know, like they have like the initial title credits, da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, right? And then Jean Grey doesn't really have a code name. She's just Jean Grey, right? Because like Scott Summers is Cyclops and Aurora Monroe is Storm and like Jubilation Lee is Jubilee. And oh my gosh, what's Gambit's real name? Remy something French, right? Hey. but I actually thought she was really annoying. I was like, why does everyone like Jean Grey? I didn't understand telepathy as a power, right? I know, right? But this just goes to show you about growing up. So Gwen Stacy, I would consider you an old soul. I'm 40 now, right? So when I was like 12 watching the old X-Men animated series, my 12-year-old self looked at Jean Grey as someone who was half Filipino and half South African. I was just like, she's not really relatable. Right? Oh, thank you. She's not relatable, but, to me. And then also, like, everyone had a crush on her. Like, Wolverine loved her, Angel loved her. Of course, I had a big crush on Cyclops because he was the leader of the X-Men. And he loved her, of course. And that's an epic love story for the ages. There is a story how Scott Summers, when he was an orphan, had a dream about Jean Grey, right? And that's the thing. I believe telepathy, or rather, if we talk about, because Emma Frost is in this version of the X-Men, right? Because at this point, Jean Grey has passed, right? So Scott and Emma, they reboot the X-Men. And so it's important to note that if you're a telepath, that each telepath has very unique powers, just like how your genes are very unique, right? So you can have a lot in common with people who have a lot of the same genetic code, but your very exact constellation points, put it that way, your star points inside, that's going to reveal your powers in a different way. So let's put it this way. There's a lot of clones in Marvel, right? And so clones and twins play with the same concept of nature versus nurture. Like, are you just born with it, or is it just Maybelline? Or or is there a level of practice? But oftentimes it is a connection of both, right? Where there is talent, right? Which is what, when they have Cerebro and they're reaching out to find mutants for the school, where you're going to be like, okay, you have a mutant, like, X gene. You have an X gene, and so, like, you likely have a gift, right? And I love this because this is, like, about the gifted. So I don't know if you guys were to have an X-Men power, what character do you resonate with? Do you have like a favorite one versus one you think that you are most like? So for me, I first started out, as I said, I really loved like Rogue and Gambit. I didn't relate to them, but I love them as a love story. My bestie, she plays as Rogue. And I was like, oh, it's so interesting how, like, they're such lovers, but they can't touch. It's such a perfect, like, tragedy love story and, like, Shakespearean. Jean, her powers come from empathy versus other telepaths like Emma Frost, where they do much more, like, mental constructs. And I would say that depending on where the source of your power comes from, it's going to then come out in different ways, right? I've read many X-Men comic books where, like, the telepaths are in, like, a fight with each other, and the comic book will show it on a higher etherical plane as, like, red versus blue energy, right? But then on the ground level, the kids are, like, looking at them, being like, they're just standing it there, like, doing this, right? And so Cyclops is like, yeah, they're doing that and, like, punching each other very hard in the brain. But what does that look like, right? If we were to be in a psychic battle, what would that look like, right? So I would propose in this reality of X-Men that if we think about psychic warfare, that can look more like nightmares, right? And how would one get nightmares, right? Oftentimes you'd watch, like when I was little, I never used to get nightmares. My little sister used to get night terrors. And that's actually also why I made these. These are dream dragon eggs. So I actually am working on, like, a book about the dragon warriors. It's a whole other conversation. You can actually see my, I printed out a map, you guys, of my world. Please have mercy on it. It's kind of rough. So I have like Eternia, the eternal world. And then you can see here the battle for Mount Olympus. That's book 1 in my series. And then to me, there was a 1999-2001 timeline shift. And then there's World Seeds. District 6 is actually Toronto. The big city of Toronto. So that's like my whole other thing too. So anyways, that's to just kind of like show how certain themes and the idea of the X-Men, right? If we think about telepathy, and I actually have a story about Professor X and Deadpool, right? Because Deadpool, for example, a big thing about him is that he breaks the fourth wall. What does that mean, class? Hands up. What does it mean when you break the fourth wall? Sailor, right? Nah. Yes. Oh, Andrew, see, I will tell you, you can actually, I'm building a D&D campaign, oh my gosh, about this. And your astrology is like informs your character in the world. So more on that to come. Yeah. Where am I talking? Where am I going with this? Oh, yes. So, yes, you guys, talking to the reader. Yes, we have some smart people in my superhero class, right? Gold stars to all of you, 1,500 points. So Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, and breaking the fourth wall is when, I like to call it like a character becomes self-aware, right? So a character in any story addresses the reader directly. Sometimes in Shakespeare, right, you could argue that the monologue, like this is the character I actually like playing the most in a theater, right? Because I have a hard time, like, I'm a very dreamy person. I was born with like my sun trine Neptune, and we actually have the sun trine conjunct Neptune right now. So people who are very dreamy in like 5 million different universes at once, hard to anchor into this reality these days. But when you're addressing like the fourth wall, you're addressing the reader, you're addressing the audience. You're being like, all right, I am a character in this, but also I'm aware that you're reading this right now, right? So I'm in your head. You're here too. So there's a weird meta thing about it. So keep that in mind about Deadpool. The reason why Wolverine is a wonderful pair to Deadpool is because Wolverine, because of his healing factor, he's able to go into worlds that most, regular human beings cannot go. Now, keep that in mind. I have a story. I don't know where the comic book is for this. I just heard this. It's like when you hear like a telephone game. So this is not canon to anything. I just heard this as a story. If you guys have read the comic book to this, please let me know. Okay, here we go. Professor X, right? Known as like Omega level telepath, Jean Grey and him, like so Professor X, I think what ends up happening is that he goes into Deadpool's mind. I don't remember for what reason, but when Professor X does this, he realizes that he is also a character in a comic book. And so Professor X is like, this like almost like breaks him, right? He's like mentally like, oh my gosh, I'm just a guy and like, I'm just a guy in a story. And Deadpool's like, yeah, because Deadpool's nuts anyways. And I don't remember what like the resolution of it is or what ends up happening. And TGIF, Dandy Money Man, and Pokey, hello, welcome. I have a beautiful dragon egg for you. It's a brass phoenix egg. And I like brass just because think about the instruments that are created with brass, right? Like saxophones, right? Sexy saxes. What else? I can't think of any of the other instruments off the top of my head, but music is definitely a way to converse about the universe. So with that, oh, Cowboy XTM, thank you for that. Happy weekend, you guys. And also, we are in the new astrological year. So happy Aries season. We have just moved from like Pisces into Aries. We're celebrating a new moon. We also have the equinox tomorrow, right? So the spring equinox. It's a beautiful, don't worry. I'm working on my matchmaking skills. superhero matchmaking. I love you guys. And I think that is why people do end up having a big crush on Jean Grey, including myself, right? Because there's something to be said about someone who truly has empathy, who can look at you and be like, not be like, oh, well, I know exactly how that feels like, but just like, I don't know, I don't get it necessarily. I don't have to understand, but I can feel you, right? And I can be here with you, and I can like hold space for you to grieve or cry, and I can hold you and I can be strong for you, and like no judgment, nothing, but for you to just like go through it, right? Because I've realized that that has been like my gift to my friends. I have had very many conversations with people who have been in dark situations and been on the phone with them for 3 hours to like 3 a.m, just like telling them like, just tell me a story, get your mind off it. Don't worry about how awful this world is, right? You just need to make it to the other side, right? But unfortunately, I fell victim to my own stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Smile. Papa Dave, hi, welcome to all my X-Men. Welcome, you guys. It's Jean Grey here. And I do relate to Jean Grey on a very deep level. When Stacy, no. What is the no to? Is it to, well, actually, how should I put this? Not everyone expresses emotions in the same way. For example, how you express love will be different. Like, love can look like baking someone a cake. Love can look like just remembering someone needs to be picked up at the airport, and like remembering all that stuff without being like reminded 5 million times. Or like love letters, or like people all show what love is in different ways, right? But the interesting thing is that there is that reception of it. And so I've never seen Smile. Oh, yes, I didn't. Thank you for bringing me back to that, Gwen Stacy. Appreciate you. Fellow Capricorns in there. I love my Cappies, by the way. I have a fun story about Capricorns. So Capricorns, just like Tauruses and Virgos, are all earth signs. So you'll find that you'll have a lot in common with other characters that share your same element. So earth signs, regardless of if you're mutable or fixed or cardinal, you'll find that you'll just still have like a really big connection to the earth plane, right? However, remember, mountains are part of the earth plane too. And Capricorns are like those little mountain goats that, like, when you're not looking, they're like up at the top of the peak, and you're like, how the heck did they get up there? It's because they were working while you were sleeping, bitch. That's basically what's like how I kind of like. And you always want a good Capricorn on your side, right? On your right hand side, just like helping you with battle strategy and things like that. You always need that. So you need that, and then you need like your woo woo Pisces, Scorpios with like the more magic stuff, right? And then you need your Aquarius and your Libras with like the high level, like eagle eye, like foresight. So that kind of thing. I mean, that's how I would organize my campaign, but that's what I would like to say about how beautiful this earth plane is. It is so unique. And the X-Men are a gorgeous group because no matter where you come from, it's like a band of outcasts, right? Which I vibe with, right? Because Jean Grey, essentially, when she comes to her powers, she is empathetically, psychically connected to her best friend when her best friend dies, right? I have not had that specifically, but I've been very close to people who have left this earth plane, right? Now, what that means to talk to energy, to talk to the birds, to talk to earth, to talk to myself in the future or the past, I've had to work all of that out with myself and build stuff out for myself so it doesn't end up being the situation of bringing that into when I'm trying to do things like write emails and work on dances and things that are very practical, right? And so just like a recommendation to you guys, like those of you who walk many pathways, just to try to organize the space around it so that you can like do each one kind of like safely, right? Now, that's why I have my little psychic shield on today. I've been working on trying to do it in like Eva foam. Moony Beats, hey babe, how's it going? Oh my gosh, I just can't read a lot of words. Yeah, Gwen Stacy, you're like Father Z. He's not a big reader. He needs me to read. That's why I like reading out loud, right? I read stories out loud to him, and like there are audible stories. There are a lot of audible things like audiobooks. I'm working on doing my own book in an audible form as well because that's why animation to me is probably the most powerful because of the voice actors, right? Like Kevin Conroy, or you think of the voice actors like Mark Hamill who does the Joker in like Arkham, right? Like that's iconic. Or who does Wolverine in like the 90s one, or Roro's voice, like how she does that like African goddess energy. So like it comes through in that voice, and then it comes to life with us like just illustrating it, and the rest is just our imagination. I shouldn't say just. It is all of it, right? And I don't think that we should discount the power of our imagination, our minds, our spiritual divine creator self that exists on dimensions that are not yet this dense, right? Do not discount the power of those worlds, right? And it should be balanced with what is here as well, right? And that's why I say, like, as you're working on maybe more woo-woo practices like telepathy, like, does it hurt to kind of like lean into things like knowing when someone's going to call you before they call, or having a dream about somebody and then literally seeing them the next day, right? And you haven't seen them in like years. That happens to me like all the time. And I'm sure it happens to you guys too, right? So think about anything that takes talent, right? Anything that takes talent still requires practice. Like every beautiful, wonderful dancer or artist or video gamer, you still need practice to get good at the game or do anything, right? Are we still thinking Sadie Sink is playing Jean? I hope so, TJ. I think that she'll be a great Jean. You know what I would really love is if there's a comic book called Jean Grey where teenage Jean Grey is haunted by her older dead self. I would love it if like Famke was like older Jean and we had Sadie Sink as like younger Jean in some sort of story. You know, because X-Men, I don't know if they've done it a couple times, I guess, with timelines, but I don't think they've really gone there with like the versions. And how should I put it? We can then interweave it with the bigger parts of the Marvel universe, especially if they're going to go with like Doomsday and these other things that are quite like, you need like the X-Men involved if you're talking about reality bending events, right? Especially Jean and the Phoenix energy, you know? Yeah, no? I'm an example. Yes, to the telepaths out there, I feel you, man. It's hard out there for a telepath. Oh my gosh. Okay. Before we begin the read, I am Phoenix. You know, a funny thing too, like my actual real name is Rachel, right? Rachel Zabrina with a Z. The story goes like this. I'll actually tell you guys. I actually had a near-death experience when I was 3 years old. And I actually have a few articles on how brain lesions and brain damage, they actually increase people's capacity for things like ESP, so extrasensory perception. The reason for this is because, you know, us to function in everyday 3D life, right? Like drive your car, go to work, feed your kids, all that stuff. You can't be like, I'm in 5 different universes. I'm in the past. And so we need the veils to ensure that we're like, you know, we're sober, right? We're in sober, regular reality. So when those get removed, you have more propensity to be able to like delve into, let's say, the one mind, the all, the spiritual realms, that kind of stuff. So I do think that there's a level of learning, like martial arts is really good for this stuff. Dance is good for this stuff. Any kind of practice, meditation. A lot of the older ancient religions have this built into it. For me, like I grew up really Catholic, right? certain things in like hymns and churches, how they sing and like how things are done, it harkens back to an ancient, deeper knowledge as to why we're even doing any of this stuff, right? So I have seen the other side. So now, going back to my story, thank you for bringing me back. So I'm known as Rachel Z. It's Rachel Sabrina, my first and my middle name. I actually did marry somebody with a last name Z as well. So I actually really became a Rachel Z. So that's kind of funny. I also have a fun story because there's a Rachel Z musician, and she reached out to me saying that like Rachel Z was copywritten, and so just to be aware of that. I was like, oh, okay. But growing up, my best friend was actually a Rachel as well. We met on the first day of kindergarten. She spelled her name Rachael. I spelled my name Rhael. We're like, are you Rachel? I'm Rachel. Do you want to be best friends? And we're still best friends. So I love how that is such a, like, making friends for kids, like, is so simple, right? It's like your heart recognizes all, like, oh, right, I remember you from before. Like, so do you want to play? So let's play. So simple. Love you, Rachel. Okay, my story. I am half Filipino, so my mother's Filipino, my dad is South African. So when I was about 4 years old, my sister was born. She was about 1 year old, and my dad was taking care of her in Winnipeg, where I was born. I'm currently in Toronto. And so I went with my mom to the Philippines to visit like all my family there, right? So me and my mom went. 4 years old. I have a lot of cousins in the Phil. And so me and my cousin Dolina, we were doing this game where we were like holding each other like this, like holding each other like wrists like this and like spinning around in a circle, right? And there in the Philippines where we were, there's a lot of like just concrete on the floor. It's a very, very poor place, right? That's one thing. I'm from the Visayas areas, and it's Iloilo, which is known as the City of Smiles. So it's a beautiful place to visit. I recommend it. I mean, I might be biased, but Filipino people are very warm and all of that kind of stuff. So hi, superstar. I'm just talking about the story about my near-death experience, and then we're going to go into X-Men, and it's all related because it's why I relate to Jean Grey, right? Or any of you guys who have had near-death experiences, or I don't know, like Dark Night of the Soul, a peek behind the veil, a little psychedelic journey, a little like any way that you have gone and realized that there are realms beyond what we normally see. And these things cannot be explained, right? You just get told you're crazy or you're this. You're just like, all right, well, let's just make a comic book about it. And we'll just say that it's all made up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So when I was about 3 or 4... in the Philippines, spinning around in a circle with my cousin Dolina. The way my mom tells the story is that she like holds me and like lets me go, but whatever happens, I basically hit the back of my head on the concrete and I black out. Now, from this point, now remember, I'm in like a third world country. There's no like hospital like here in the Western world. And so my mom says I went like cold white, completely blacked out. So she took me to like some old shack there. I don't know. And so the way the story goes, and I don't remember this, I only have weird memories that have come back to me very recently. Yeah. So I smashed the back of my head, and then I woke up, I think it was basically 24 hours later. And I was just in like I just woke up. Like that could have just been the end of it. Or like I could have woken up and I could have just been like not there, right? Because you have like major brain trauma. Like it can just change you quite deeply, right? On a personality level, depending on how you hit your head, that kind of stuff. Oh, Cowboy, thank you for that. Of course, please do add me. And I know that I've had a few viewers who have told me about their own near-death experiences. And it does mess with you, because I've told friends of mine this before, where I'm like, some part of me sometimes feels like I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be back in that like bed in the Philippines, and I'll be like 4 years old, and this whole thing, this was just a dream, right? Because that's the way dream time works, right? It's not this like, oh, okay, like hour to hour, right? Like 1 hour can be equal to like 25 million years. So it's kind of like this thing of like, well, what is time then, right? And then so if we are able then to like play with that perspective, can we get a different perspective and then use that to this invention? Do you want to high five? That kind of thing. So I woke up, I guess no worse for wear. And that was that, right? So this was before we entered school. And so all of my family in the Philippines, they all call me Sabrina. So I was going by my middle name at this time, Sabrina. So I come back to Canada, to Winnipeg, and I'm about to go to school, right? I'm about to enter kindergarten. And so my dad asks me, my dad's so funny because like he never really treated me like a little kid. He always like kind of treated me as like a little human. And I've told you he's like a professor in computer science. So he just kind of like, the way he would answer questions for me was just like really sweet. I still remember a lot of them to this day. And he'll be like, you remember that? I'm like, of course, Dad. So he asks me, he's like, Rachel, well, not Rachel, because I'm Sabrina at this time. You're about to go to school. So do you want to like keep Sabrina as like your name, or do you want Rachel? Because on my birth certificate, my first name is actually like Rachel and then Sabrina, right? But I was known as Sabrina. I don't know if any of you guys do this too. Like some of my friends, yes, they went by their middle name or like a different name, like a rose by any other name smells just as sweet, or a nickname, or these nicknames become like, think about like Cher, right? Or like Freddie Mercury, right? That's a whole, like, it's your stage name. Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, right? Who Norma Jean created Marilyn Monroe. I've been good, real talk. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. Only my family members call me by your nickname. Yeah. Do you prefer your nickname? Like, is it weird when someone calls you by like your full name, right? So for me, it's just a weird thing because remember I had my near-death experience in the Philippines. I came back. And so my dad asked me this question. I'm like, I want to be known as Rachel, you know, because to me at the time I was like, oh, I've been known as Sabrina this whole time. Like, that'd be fun. I'm going to, why not just get to be known as Rachel? So there it was. I was like, Rachel, Sabrina. And it's interesting too if I think about synchronistic events because I picked Rachel, I ended up being best friends with the other girl named Rachel in my class, and like we made it like she's a big reason why I fell into dancing and all that kind of stuff. So all these different things, these like when I look back on it, just it seems so planned, so like almost like a movie, right? But like at the time, sometimes these things just happen and you don't realize the importance of it at the time. So that being said, growing up, and yes, I do want to create a radio station out in the prairie. So I'm currently out in Toronto. I moved out here in about 2007, and I did personal training here, right? As well as I worked in corporate. I was a digital project manager. I worked for like the hospital here, diabetes, a lot of like automobile industry, sprint planning, development, all that stuff. So my little sister, she's also a software engineer, and she works for EA Games. So I have this big dream to like build my own AM radio station with like an ode to storytelling, right? And to the medium of radio, right? Because I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone through heartbreak, and that radio DJ, he plays just the right song. And it's Mariah Carey, and my heart is breaking, and I'm just like crying in my car. But you survive, right? Your heart breaks and you heal and you like love again. And I'm in like a beautiful relationship, obviously, and I'm in love, right? So it all worked out in the end, even though I felt like my whole world was falling apart multiple times. And yeah, sometimes in that song, just the right lyric, it's just like, you're like, wow, you know exactly how it feels, right? And in that moment, you're like, I'm not alone. Someone gets it, right? And that can be in stories, that can be in comic books, that can just be, you know, a friend that you hear on the phone that tells you a story, and like you didn't know that they went through that. Like me personally, I was letting people know that like I'm just going through my own healing process of like realization that like maybe I do need therapy, maybe I do need to talk to someone, because I myself have been that person for people, but like, you know, healers need healers too. We all just need each other, right? It's just because I live in like big city of Toronto where a lot of these things have become transactional, right? We have a lot of transactional relationships where, you know, where it would just be like a friend you'd go out for coffee with and have conversation about like, hey, what should I do about my supplements and stuff, right? It just becomes like, oh, well, now you need to have a consultation, and then it's like $100 and this kind of thing. So I'm just like, but your time is also valuable too, right? So there's a balance to that as well. So okay, let's get into the read, you guys. Welcome to the live. If you are new here, I am Rachel Z. I cosplay as characters in comic books. Comic books specifically as a medium for me to read out loud are special just because they really are a visual medium, right? Like if we compare them to things like hieroglyphics, or even the fact that like, look at how much work goes into just a page that could have been a variant cover for the comic book, but like it's not, and it's still part of the comic book like package, right? And there is just something special, I feel like, having something real in your hands. And so this one specifically is written by Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon is actually, if you guys are familiar with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he was the creator of it, or writer, or forget, but I think he also had some weird allegations. What is up with that? But I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer growing up. David Boreanaz, Angel, Willow, the original team. I loved it. I didn't like the later episodes, like when they brought Buffy back from the dead and stuff. It kind of jumped the shark for me, but I did love the initial, like, Buffy. Always beware of little girls. Oh, thank you. So where are we? Yes. Stories. The power of storytelling. I had a message from the universe a long time ago now that was basically a very powerful one. That was that stories are essentially like currency, right? Like if you read some like fairy tales, for example, if you meet a big monster like dragons, for example, this is a tip to any of you guys. If you're in the dream realms, you meet a big scary monster. Typically, if you have a great story, they'll accept that as payment. So you have that's what I mean. Like any of your stories that you have had in your life, they can seem traumatizing, but you know what? Once you have enough space from it, like, hey, this is actually, I survived that. And maybe I can package that together. And then when the crazy troll tries to demand payment past the bridge, I can be like, hey, I have a crazy story for you. Do you want to know it? Let me pass the bridge. You know, so, and I do have some crazy stories, actually. One of them being, let me see, like, I guess, like, my latest psychic story was with my little sister that I like to tell people. And she likes to tell others, too, as well. Me and my little sister have a telepathic connection. We probably need to do more to, like, work on, like, what that is, but I can tell when she's in trouble, right? She had an incident. She's a big hiker out in BC, so she loves to do these like crazy, like speaking of Capricorn energy, right? She's an Aries woman, but has a lot of Capricorn energy, so double horns. She's also single, I think. Wait, I think she might be dating, so I'll see. I'll have to double check on that. But I remember she was hiking somewhere and I had this like crazy feeling that she was in trouble. And I like looked on like my WhatsApp and I saw that like she didn't have any like reception. And so I had like freaked out of like messaging her. I'm like, oh, yeah. When you get connection, just like call me, let me know, right? Anyways, turns out that I was messaging her at a point of time when she was like about to go past a really crazy part of the trail, and she turned back, actually. It's like she heard me. So, and she told all her friends like the timing of it and the text, and she was like, that's crazy that you felt like her. They felt that. I'm like, yeah, big sister energy. Just be careful. You know? All right. So let's let's just go into the read. We'll see how far we go. And John Cassaday, the artist of this, I think he has passed. He also has a few other stories that I need to look up because they're pretty from what I understand, pretty trippy and probably in my wheelhouse of stories to get to know. All right, guys, my X-Men, let's start. Mommy is screaming. Her screams are yummy. Oh my gosh. Is next. Vita, Vita, Tildy, sweetie, I'm right here. It came back. It was just a dream, Tildy. I don't want it to come back. It never will, Tildy. And it never will. So let's begin. Gifted. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Luna's taking a sleep with my Wolfie. Because, I think it's really funny, right? There's no real pets at the school. I guess maybe they're not allowed. You have Beast and Wolverine and stuff, so maybe. Oh, thanks, Akav, you guys. And welcome to the read, and welcome to the weekend, and the new Astro year. Love, Jean Grey. Okay. Gifted, and to all the gifted ones. Oh, Kitty. Oh, yeah, Kitty is in this as well. I love Kitty Pryde as well. She's wonderful. Kitty and Colossus forever. And you're correct, Gwen Stacy. Thank you for that little note there that Kitty does have a dragon as a pet. Speaking of dragon love. Nothing has changed. The place was destroyed, and now it looks like nothing has even happened. We can send your furniture after you, or home to Deerfield. No, keep it here. I intend to visit you guys every chance that I get. So this is Kitty talking right now. She's narrating this, right? And remember, she can phase through walls. Just keep that in mind as she's phasing through the school. Of course, the professor would have it rebuilt this way, give everyone a sense of stability, of continuity. Nothing has changed. Not even me. And she has memories. Professor Xavier is a jerk kind of thing. Because when you're younger and you're more impulsive self, why am I in school? I'm a kid again, out of my depth, completely overwhelmed by everything here, and it isn't the Sidri or the Sentinels or the brood that surround me. It's the smaller pieces, shards of me. Merry Christmas, sexy Kitty. So it's remembering when she meets Colossus, right? Her hubs. So yeah, just to know. She kind of reminds me of I can feel the Buffy in Joss Whedon's writing, his dialogue, right? Because remember, all writers, when they write, they're writing all the characters. So I can feel, you'll see. At least, I hope I'm not late. Oh, hi. It's possible that I'm late. And so, so you can see her, Kitty's, it's school, right? So it's first day of a class and you have assembly, right? So you're all oh, meet your teachers. And she walks through and Emma's oh, nice of you to join us, right? Quite so, says Emma Frost. This, children, is Kitty Pryde, who apparently feels the need to make a grand entrance. Oh, I'm sorry. I was busy remembering to put on all of my clothes. That's a roast to Emma, I think, for the boobages. So gushingly glad that you could join us. Miss Pryde will be teaching advanced computational theory as well as acting as student advisor and liaison to the administrative staff. And Cyclops says here, it's great to see you. Sorry about the timing. Did I miss the sorting hat? Just Scott's scintillating introduction speech, says Beast. And Scott's oh my gosh, even I was bored. And Emma continues speaking out to the assembly. Since Professor Xavier is away on sabbatical, Mr. Summers and myself will be acting as heads of the school. Dr. McCoy and Miss Pryde will round out the senior staff along with Logan, who is elsewhere. And Kitty's what does she mean by elsewhere? And Beast whispers back, It means we've narrowed it down to else. Now, this is a place of learning, not just about your mutant gifts, but about the world. Respect for your teachers, mutant and human alike, will be expected of all of you. Control of your powers, the safety of those around you, is of paramount importance. Violence of any kind will never be tolerated. Oh yes, yeah, the crew's all here, somewhat, right? They're rebuilding the school, so it's like the new semester, welcome class, right? Emma's your headmistress, right? She's pretty hot, like hot headmistress there. And so out of nowhere then, we have the Sentinels show up, right? And then it's really just the danger room. And if you guys are familiar with the X-Men, like how they run like simulations to practice, is that they have the danger room to like fight against the, just in case. And then so everyone freaks out. She ends the simulation and then she continues saying, so what have we all learned? We learned the first lesson. They will always hate us. I don't know about that, Emma. That's a really okay. And you can tell that the other three are like, Emma, what the heck? We will never live in a world of peace, which is why control and nonviolence are essential. We must prove ourselves a peaceful people. We must give the ordinary humans respect, compliance, and understanding. And we must never mistake that for trust. Indeed, Gwen Stacy, chill. If Jean Grey was there, she's like, what the heck is up with? I'm pretty sure Professor X would have been like, Emma, come on now. But I mean, she's taking the opportunity since Professor X is on sabbatical, right? So, she's just reinforcing that you should never trust. Never trust. They will always hate us mutants, that kind of thing. And then later on in the bedroom, Scott says to Emma, you should have warned me you were going to do that. Well, you would have said no. Well, among other things. Well, I guess they're in the room now having their conversation. I scanned the students. Nearly 10% of them were more than a little excited at the prospect of a fight. I thought we should know which ones were. I'm not Xavier, Scott. I'll go through the roster. I'll try to narrow it down. Tomorrow. And then that evening, then waking up. So as they wake up, though, Logan's there, creeping on them. Kind of like, hi, guys. Which stage of grieving is this? Denial, and then he literally gets shot in the face by the, optic beams by Cyclops, falls on the yard, and the claws are out, and he yells out, did I strike a nerve, Summers? This is good. The guy who tried to steal my wife since the day he met us is going to tell me about what's proper. Well, the only reason Jean and you stayed together at all is because she was too strong to give in to what she really wanted, and you were too scared. Hey, Logan, that healing power is about to come in really handy. Oh, what is this all about, says Beast. And Emma's like, oh, what do you think? Superpowers, a scintillating wit, and the best body that money can buy. And I still rate below a corpse. Oh, Emma. Scott will always love Jean Grey. It's just the way it goes, And in front of the students, right? Yeah, Hank's back. As if Emma's little game yesterday didn't wind them up enough, they have to see their administrative staff trying to kill each other. You two should be long past that nonsense. Where on earth did it come from, says Beast. Scott's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not apologizing to Logan, and I won't accept one in return. Scott, you're acting as head of the... But I'm going to say it anyway. It was inexcusable. I agree. And it's going to make what I have to say even more absurd. We're a team. We're actually a superhero team. And I think it's time we started acting like one. Spoken like the true leader here there, Scott, right? Oh, whoa, wait, says Logan. Is this gonna be about tights? It's about everything. Truth, perception. We've saved the world, worlds, even, time and time again. That's the truth. That's what we do. But the perception is that we're freaks, or worse, that we're Magnetos waiting to happen. Indeed. We've been taking it on the chin for so long, just trying to keep from being wiped out. I think we've forgotten that we actually have a purpose. I know the rest of the world has forgotten. Is this like a theme of us being so big? Actually, that's me. I programmed the danger room to replicate Hawaii because I thought it would relax our combatants. It appears I should have been a bit more specific about scale. Feast. Like Hawaiian music starts to just blare off the speakers. Remember when this place was just flamethrowers and rotating knives? I miss that. Can we please let Scott finish, people? Now I have cloud hair. The point is simply this. We need to get into the world, saving lives, helping with disaster relief. We need to present ourselves as a team like any other. Avengers, Fantastic Four, they don't get chased through the streets with torches. Okay, here come the tights. Sorry, Logan. Superheroes do wear costumes. And quite frankly, all the black leather is making people nervous. Okay, Kitty's like raising a hand. I officially really don't know why I'm here. I'm not a fighter like you guys. Oh, you've been in plenty, kid, says Logan. I'd take you at my back any day. But you're not a fighter. Your power isn't aggressive. It's protective. That's good to show. And people like you, Kitty. Here we are. So they've now teleported to a nice beach. Hanks articulate as anything, but what people see is mostly, well, a beast. Emma's a former villain, and Logan's a thug. Born and bred. And me, I can lead a team. But I haven't looked anybody in the eye since I was 15. So what? Says Kitty. I'm like a PR stunt? Yes, our own poster child. Isn't that sweet? Nah, the non-threatening Shadow Cat, or Sprite, or Ariel, or whatever unimpressive name you're using nowadays, says Emma. Emma, shut up. You all may have perfectly good reasons for not wanting to do this, but you are the team that I chose. So please think about it. Am I the only one who is dying to see the outfits, says Beast. Wonderful. And so then that's where I think they jump back to like the bad guys, which I don't like. And here's the outfits. You need like the big astonishing walkout, right? Not bad, right? I like Emma's here. We have to astonish them. Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na. Mutants are not the next step in evolution. So they've got like this basically political people that are trying to do this whole like they're basically treating like the X gene as something that needs to be cured. But I'm just going to end the read here. I wanted to do just a little little baby read before the weekend, you guys. And, you know, have a little bit of my Psy Shield on, and just wish you guys a happy new astrological year. And to all of you guys who are intuitives, psychics, all of that, dream walker people, all that good stuff, to just take care, because it's very powerful, potent energy in the cosmos right now. Oh, Tripsna, thank you for that galaxy. Much appreciated. Oh, I like help amp up the good vibes I want to send you guys. So I have my extra Psy Shield to also send out my own version of good vibes out there, right? Because it's funny, right? I notice a lot of like science fiction writers tend to be like male, right? And we can imagine a lot of these like crazy scenarios, and sometimes I feel like things can get really dark, right? And so things like miracles, you know, maybe some like divine intervention, maybe things like good luck, right? Maybe a lot more of that kind of stuff we can hope for in our reality going forward, you guys. And oh, yes, good evening, Patrick. Yes, I'm just about to wrap. I did do a little read of this from Joss Whedon and John Cassaday. More to come from John Cassaday, actually, because I've got to do some more work on that. And also, Joss Whedon is related to the whole Buffy the Vampire Slayer situation. I also heard that they're not going to be going forward with, I think, the remake of it on Hulu, which probably is a good thing anyway. Sometimes stories are meant to just be of their time. Things should just allow to evolve into the next phase of whatever it is, right? And just love. Love is all you need. Love that. Oh, okay, you guys, and to all the empaths out there, because Jean's powers do stem from deep empathy, right? And knowing yourself, where your power comes from, is a big, I think, lesson when it comes to all of it, right? Because if we think of even the X-Men, they're in school, right? That's what I just read you guys. It's like, okay, first day of class, guys. This is your headmistress, Emma Frost. And in many cases, Jean actually has like a school of higher learning herself as well. So I do relate a bit to that, right? And also just like learning, education, and realizing too that there's more to learning and education than just like school, right? Like, you learn from like stories, we learn from like comic books, we learn from each other's experiences as we talk to each other. So he's actually with Wolfie, Gwen Stacy. It's funny you say that. And I want to be able to, it's still a little early-ish here on Friday, so we have some stuff to do. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I was hoping it was going to be a nicer day to do some stuff outside, some more dance stuff. And I actually wanted to do, I will, Gwen Stacy. I'll do, oh my goodness, what is that noise? Oh my gosh. But I am a Jean Grey Omega level X-Men. And, you know, the mother to the Phoenix. But more about the Phoenix and Jean Grey and the whole, I guess, genetic codes of different, I guess, bloodlines in the X-Men, because I think I've read you guys a storyline before. I'm going to see if I can get it again, where it's X-Men versus Avengers versus Eternals. It's because the X-Men figure out how to do resurrection, right? So once that happens, the Eternals, who are like gods in their own right, are like, oh, we're threatened now because, you know, the X-Men, once, like, you don't die anymore. You've conquered death. But, you know, there's more to it than that, right? Because I've also read you guys the Phoenix, if you want to get that on my YouTube, where Phoenix basically goes up against Thanos, and Thanos loves to court Lady Death, right? So, oh, thank you. So that's it for me, you guys. Thanks for joining me as Jean Grey, your favorite psychic, and your X-Men. And so to all of you X-Men out there, keep doing your thing, keep being you, right? Because it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in this cosmic game of life. So be sure to show up as exactly you, because guess what? The universe is counting on you. But no worries, I do have your back, and everyone needs a little bit of psychic backup, right? So stay strong out there, guys. To me, my X-Men. Bye. Thank you.